Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SEMA Collision Repair and Refinish stage in 2025. I am Jason Black with iCar, and the presentation today is going to be Beyond the Dent, Collision Repair and EV Advanced Tools. And I want to let Ermal introduce yourself. Ermal, tell us about yourself and your company.
Yeah, so my name is Ermal. I'm the product manager at XTech. XTech is a French-based company, but we have a physical presence in over 27 countries with regional subsidiaries in USA, Japan, Brazil, and China. Our experience comes from the aviation field, so transitioning over to the automotive with our 12-volt battery diagnostic tools, chargers, and also our EV solutions as well.
Was that a pretty easy transition, or was that challenging?
It was easy with all the experience and expertise that our company has. Everything.
Okay. So when we talk 12-volt batteries, what is your expertise in this field?
So I've been working with XTech since 2018, and my experience comes with all the testings that I've done personally with all of our tools, and basically just learning how a battery will react out in the real world, and that's what makes our tools so good at their job.
Right. So, why is battery diagnostic important after a collision?
Yeah, so the main thing that we'll be talking about today, of course, is during after a collision. So battery diagnostics after a collision is very important to make sure that there's no hidden damages. Also, customer service is important. The customer also wants to have their vehicle back how they had it before. But also, depending on the vehicle, battery diagnostics is important because the recalibrations that have to happen after the repair on your ADAS or any module reflashing that have to happen.
So, talking ADAS, that's a huge topic in today's collision industry, right?
Yes.
We've had several panel discussions on it already. And so let me just ask you, with ADAS calibration and reflashing, how do your tools help? I mean, I know you got the 1012 EVO. So how does that help with the calibration and reflashing?
Yeah, so our EVO series, like the 512 and the 1012 EVO, will be able to maintain the voltage needed during a recalibration, during an ADAS recalibration, and also when you're reflashing any modules. Our 512 EVO is able to provide 50 amps of maximum power, and our 1012 EVO is able to provide 100 amps of constant power, depending on the vehicle's needs. So the European vehicles and the Asian vehicles will need more of the 100 amp chargers, and then mostly domestics will be able to be with the 50 amp charger.
Is that kind of your standard when you're looking at it? 50 amp is kind of your minimum across the board if you're reflashing modules, things like that. But the upper end with more, you're looking towards somewhere around 100. Is there any time you would even need more, or is that pretty much the standard, 50 to 100?
100 is usually good for most vehicles. There are some vehicles now in the newer end of the vehicles that may require even more. But
So if we are looking at this, how do we make sure that these batteries are in good condition? Because it's very important, right?
yeah, so the main thing that you want to do to make sure that the batteries are staying in good condition, first thing you do is, of course, test it, and then maintaining the charge. So you have to maintain these batteries throughout the whole process. So if it's sitting out on the lot waiting for it to get repaired, you do need to make sure that it stays charged.
Well, and to that point, a lot of people may not realize, and we do because we're in this world, right? Your average person may think, "Oh, I have an EV, I have a hybrid, that high voltage battery." Yes, that high voltage battery is very important, but that 12-volt battery is just as important as that high voltage battery. Can you explain a little bit of why that is?
Yeah, so the EV vehicles, they do have a 12-volt system that runs the electronics, the safety systems, the doors locking, unlocking, and if your high voltage battery goes dead, the 12-volt battery is likely to diminish as well.
Okay.
And they do play a different role in the EV vehicles, like I mentioned with the safety systems and everything. And we're seeing even lithium-ion 12-volt batteries, even the deep cycle 12-volt batteries as well.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So, on the topic, I'm sorry, shifting about EV vehicles, your expertise in EX Techs.
Yes. So XTech has been providing EV service tools since the beginning of the company, starting with our MB1550. And now we have a wide range of products from full battery pack chargers and dischargers to module balancers, as well as bonding testers and leak testers as well for the EV vehicles.
Yeah, and those are very important for EV too. So, yeah, battery maintaining, but there's a lot of stuff. These batteries have to they have to cool themselves, right? So, and you have tools to help deal with that situation too. So, on top of the EV battery pack, EV vehicles also have a 12-volt battery. Is there a difference in that 12-volt battery? What kind of battery is it that are in EV? Because there is some differences, right?
Yes, there is some differences. The 12-volt battery in an EV vehicle is usually a little bit smaller, so it doesn't need to sustain the cranking amps that a 12-volt battery needs to in the ICE engines. But it is responsible for the electronics, so it's more of the amp hour rating than the CCA rating on the EV vehicle for the 12-volt.
And that's why they can be smaller, because they don't need quite as much of that room for that cold cranking amps, right?
Correct.
So, we're looking at EV service in general. A lot of people are out there, and maybe there's some that have less service, but people think that if I go buy an EV, I don't have to get my vehicle serviced anymore. But when it looks towards the EV battery service, why is there necessary for bonding, testing practices, and things like that?
So after a collision, after a collision for the EV vehicle, once it gets to the shop, the technician working on this EV vehicle needs to make sure that the battery pack is safe to get worked on. So that's where the bonding testing will come in play to make sure that the battery is grounded properly and it is safe to work on the vehicle.
Okay. So, looking at charging and discharging procedures of an EV battery, the safety and what is necessary for a good process. I mean, safety is kind of the most important thing, right? Because you mess up on a 12-volt battery, okay, whatever. You mess up with a high-voltage battery, you get one shot, right?
Yes, on a high-voltage battery. So a few things are important working on a high-voltage battery pack. So charging the battery pack requires a very good power supply. So the power supply is the main thing to get the battery pack charged correctly and safely. On the discharging side, depending on the method that you're using and where that energy is going, because it has to go somewhere, whether it's heat or back into the grid, that's the main thing. And then the other thing is also monitoring the battery pack during this whole process. So make sure that it doesn't overheat, making sure that all the cells are charging or discharging correctly. That's the main thing, and our Nero lineup does do all of that. So it's able to monitor the whole battery pack.
Okay. More on safety and service. Leak testing and battery pack, how does that work? And why should we do it?
Well, yes. So the leak testing, after a collision, once the battery pack came to the service shop, you do want to make sure to leak test it first, the cooling system, to make sure that there's no coolant leaking inside or anything like that. Then after a repair, so if you've replaced the module inside the battery pack or anything like that, and you've sealed the battery pack back up, you want to make sure that it is sealed properly, and you would leak test the housing to make sure that it is up to the manufacturer's specifications.
Nice. So, what is new on SEMA? Are you introducing any new products or anything for anybody to go to your booth over there and see?
Yes, we are introducing a new product this year. It is called the e-Jerry Can. and it is an EV rescuer.
An EV rescuer, okay.
Yes. So if your EV runs out of charge on the side of the road,
That's never happened.
this tool will be what bails those people out. So it can be used in a variety of applications. Tow trucks being one of them, so they can come out, put some charge into the battery, so you can get it to the next charging station. But also things like airport garages. You know, the vehicle, you went on a long trip, now your vehicle's dead. You can potentially get this at an airport and charge up your vehicle to get to the next charging station. And even for dealerships and repair shops, you know, they have EVs that are dead out on the parking lot. They will be able to take this out to the parking lot. It doesn't have to be plugged into the wall or anything. And use the vehicle's charging port and everything to get the vehicle up and running.
So how does this e-jerry can work?
So yes, so the e-jerry can is basically a power storage. It's a power bank, so we're able to store energy on there and then provide that energy to the vehicle, and we're able to provide, depending on the battery pack and the condition of the battery pack, up to 10 miles in about 30 minutes.
Okay, well, that could definitely get you somewhere where you need to go, right?
Definitely. And you can see this at our booth, booth number 38159.
Well, Ermal, I think you're getting close to the end of your PowerPoint. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience, the customers at home or potential customers at home, their viewers? Anything else you would like to share?
Yeah, so as I've mentioned throughout this whole thing, battery maintenance is important. Doesn't matter if it's at a dealership or the repair shop. You want to make sure that you keep the battery maintained and charged up, especially for vehicles that are not being used on a daily basis. That will make the battery last longer. Our chargers will work great to make that happen. And then also on the EV side, especially after a collision, we want to make sure that we're safe while we're performing the work on these EV vehicles. So make sure that they follow all the proper protocols, use the bonding testers, and use a module balancer or a charger discharger that's able to monitor the battery to make sure that everything is going correctly and running smoothly during the repair.
Yeah, and those are very good statements. And I want to say the most important thing is your customer safety, right? So, you know, what I want to say out there is to all the shop owners, don't cut corners when it comes to EV after a collision. It's too important. With EV, and we've seen some weird cases, right? We may see some danger with that person, maybe see some dangers with whole neighborhoods if things are not done right.
Yep. And that all comes down to the repair process. So if everything was followed, if the leak test was done at the end of the repair, then that battery is going to be safe and no debris can get inside, which would cause the problems. Test the cooling system so there's no coolant getting inside the battery pack, which is a potential fire hazard there. So.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for being a part of our show and coming out, and thank everybody that came out to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.